Good afternoon. This is Media Center Ukraine, Odesa. Today we have a briefing of the French delegation visiting Odesa, namely Eduard Philippe, Prime Minister of France in 2017-2020, and now Mayor of Le Havre, and Nathalie Loiseau, Member of the European Parliament, former Minister for European Affairs. Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy that I have an opportunity to address you at the end of the visit. Our delegation includes Nathalie Loiseau, Mr. Perrichard, the mayor of Saint-Germain City, and the last 2 days we have been working in Ukraine, and before that we were in Warsaw. We visited Kiev, visiting the representative of central authorities, and today we're visiting Odesa. The aim of this visit is to demonstrate our support to Ukraine and its people, and our admiration with what we've seen in recent months. This is the admiration of the whole French people. We admire your patriotism. We admire your resilience in fighting for your freedom. We have already visited Kiev. Today we're here in Odesa, and we believe that in Ukraine we should not be limited only by the capital, but also to visit other regions to better see how the country lives. We also take into consideration the importance of Odesa as a port city. I am the mayor of Le Havre, which is a significant port in France, and we know what is the role of Odesa in terms of the export potential and in general with regard to possibilities of Ukrainian economics. And thirdly, all of us are aware about European component of the history of your city, and this is a good symbol of the European identity of the whole Ukraine. Thank you. Nathalie Loiseau, the floor is yours. Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. I work in the European Parliament and I'm the head of the Committee on Safety and Security, and quite often I visit Ukraine as a part of my work. And today I can say that we should continue supporting Ukraine as long as it is needed. We have been doing this since the first day of this terrible aggression of the Russian Federation that started on the 24th of February. Within our negotiations and meetings, both in Kiev and in Odesa, we've learned that such support is very significant for your country, the support of the European partners. And we've seen and we admire the unity which is demonstrated both by political and military management of the country, and their resilience in terms of fighting for freedom of Ukraine. And I would like to say once more that we believe that we should constantly continue supporting, on behalf of the European Union, Ukraine in this situation. Thank you. I would like to ask the first question, and then I will give the microphone to our colleagues. Can you please tell us about the results of your meetings in Odesa? What is going to be done on behalf of France? We've been visiting Odesa since the morning, and we met the mayor of Odesa, the head of Odesa Oblast Military Administration, and there are four things that I admire both in Kiev in Odesa. First thing is determination, the calmness and the resilience in the fight of Ukrainian people. Secondly, everywhere we hear the words of gratitude to France, to the French people, for the whole support rendered by our country to Ukraine, both in military, financial, and humanitarian aspects. But at the same time, we can hear new requests and new needs which are voiced by our interlocutors. Here we speak about generators, weaponry, and all other items which Ukraine needs to survive this winter period. Thirdly, we all the time hear what is really understood by us. This is the devotion of Ukraine, of the whole people of Ukraine, to accessing the European Union, emphasizing the possibility of obtaining the candidate status that was given during the summer. There is understanding that this will be a difficult path, but it is needed, and this is inevitable to achieve this goal. And the fourth thing I can hear from my Ukrainian interlocutors that this is absolutely necessary to organize criminal prosecution and bringing to justice for committing military and other types of crimes of the political and military management of Russia. When it comes to Odesa, while visiting Odesa, I had a possibility, an opportunity to visit the Odesa seaport and to see with my own eyes the work which is done to organize importing cranes from Odesa. In the framework of this multilateral initiative, which is well known for you. And I've heard a lot of words of gratitude to France, but I believe that we should thank Ukraine for its efforts, in particular with regard to implementing this crane initiative, which is needed not only for Ukraine, but also to feed a lot of countries in the world. That's why I think that today we should thank Ukraine for this. Thank you. Are there any questions? Yes. Rafai.
Michael. I've looked at the figures of France's contribution to Ukraine in terms of military aid, in terms of humanitarian aid, and in terms of all of the support, France is even behind my own country of Canada, as it's almost half. And also in terms of French support, overall support in terms of percentage of GDP, France is number 21. Military aid, France is number 23. So again, Canadian support is higher, and we're not even on Ukraine's doorstep like France. Do you think this is not a shameful situation for France to be in, given all the words that President Macron has given supporting Ukraine, and yet your actual contributions are abysmally low? Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Дякую дуже.
Je vais laisser Madame Loiseau répondre. Je voudrais simplement vous dire, Monsieur.
Before giving floor to Ms. Nathalie Loiseau, that can answer your question, I would like to say to you that before comparing the support rendered to Ukraine, we should think first about those who need this support. Yeah, and the answer is obvious here. These are Ukrainians, and we should first speak about the efforts of the President Zelensky to unite around Ukraine the whole world, despite and contrary to to Putin, the President of the Russian Federation, who isolates himself and the whole country from the rest of the world. I'm happy that other countries, not only the European Union, significantly support Ukraine, including, of course, Canada and the United States. I believe that these partners of Ukraine should also demonstrate unity and not to compete with others. Secondly, I believe that you know that France, contrary to other countries, has made a decision not to disclose the whole military support which it renders to Ukraine. In this context, it is a bit risky and unjustified to compare the numbers, which you cannot speak about for sure. It is also rather risky to compare the promises. I can say for sure, and I'm proud of this, that Ukraine has met 100% of promises given to Ukraine. Moreover, you know that France is a member of the European Union, and like a member state, it takes around 20% of costs which are carried by the European Union to provide financial, humanitarian, or military aid to Ukraine. This means that, for example, when Poland sends to Ukraine military equipment, and it's rather effective in this, we can acknowledge this. But after that, she receives a certain amount of compensation from the European Union, and 20% of this compensation are provided by France. You're also right in saying that this war is ongoing on the European territory. And together with Eduard Philip, I believe that we will contribute even more. Thank you. The next question, please. RFI. Good afternoon. You know that before that you were in Kiev and met our Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal to discuss the recovery of the Ukrainian regions that suffered war. Can you share us details? Thank you for your question. First of all, I would like to say that I am not the Prime Minister of France anymore. That's why I cannot express the opinion of the current government of France. During our meeting with Denis Shmyhal, the Prime Minister of Ukraine, I would like to say once more that I was impressed by the determination of the leadership of the country. Victory in this war for Ukrainians include such element as to develop its sovereign future. And one of the important aspects of this future for Ukraine is the accession to the European Union. During my conversation with the Ukrainian Prime Minister, I've noted that the political force which I hate and which is fully pro-European is ready to fully provide its support to Ukraine in the future path in a gradual implementation of the stages that will bring it to the European Union. To become a member state of the EU is always a difficult task, as well as the procedure, but Ukraine demonstrates today that it can overcome even more difficult challenges. And that's why I believe that together we will be able to achieve success, to achieve this goal. The next question, Newsweek. Michael Vasura, Newsweek Journal. What is surprising for you here in Ukraine? What you learned here in Ukraine that wasn't clear while you were in France? And how are you going to use this new knowledge when you come back home? Perhaps I will repeat myself, but I would like to say once more that I was impressed the most by what we call resilience. Maybe this word is not enough, but this is the resilience which Ukrainians demonstrate. And here we not only mean the force of the armed forces of Ukraine, but also the society which can organize and which is resilient in this fight, and it can overcome all that happens within the war, believing in its victory. This is the internal strength of the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian nation, and we admire this. Basing on what we've seen here, we can say that our position in the future will imply constant support of Ukraine, both in the French Parliament and in the European Parliament. Secondly, this will include what we did before the visit. This is the work to encourage different French communities to be involved in providing support to Ukraine, sending different types of equipment that Ukraine needs: vehicles, generators, transformers, etc. And last week we had a large conference in Paris where France stated that it is ready to render such support. So we will help to involve all French cities that would like to do this. Within this approach, we have already collected 15 generators, 25 vehicles that will be soon delivered to Ukraine and will be used by some of the Ukrainian communities. Perhaps this is a modest contribution, but this is only the start, and I would like to assure you that we are ready to continue this work in this area and involve more and more French cities in this common work. Thank you. The last question, if we have one. Good afternoon. My name is Anatoly Kosin, the Media Center Ukraine, Odesa. I would like to make a small clarification. You've mentioned 15 generators and 25 vehicles. Who has collected them? Our delegation in this mission include several mayors of French cities. And before coming here, as I've already mentioned, we addressed the whole range of French cities that were ready to participate in their contribution, including Le Havre, Nice, etc. And they are ready to support Ukraine. Within the initiative, I'm now talking about the equipment that has already been collected. And the specialized humanitarian association will be responsible for delivering this equipment in January to Ukraine to provide to communities. We want this equipment to be useful for territorial communities because we would like to work at this level. But of course, we are ready to listen to recommendations in terms of the importance of the specific types of equipment to those cities and towns where it is needed the most. And just one more short question, if you allow. The question to you as the mayor of Le Havre, do you know how many Ukrainian refugees are now residing in your city, and what do they do there? As of now, I have the number of 230 Ukrainians that are now residing in Le Havre. And we speak about those institutions that depends on our city council. But other Ukrainians are accommodated by a private person. That's why we do not know the exact number. Yes, this is a small number. It may seem so, but this is what we have as of today. Children are our priority, and they go to school, but this is quite difficult for them. They take efforts to learn the language and to integrate as soon as possible, and then they will decide if they want to stay in France to continue studies or to come back to Ukraine. I would like to say that the population of our city warmly welcomes Ukrainians. Le Havre, at the end of the Second World War in 1944, was significantly bombarded, and it was almost erased from geographical maps. That's why, as soon as we learned about the Russia's aggression, we saw the videos and the photos that led to the significant and large wave of solidarity of our population. And I'm proud of this. Thank you. And that was the last question. Unfortunately, we have to finalize our briefing now, and I'm really thankful to you for finding time to come to us today. I would like to thank journalists who responded to this announcement very quick, and we hope to see you here once again. Thank you.